Because all that makes a difference. Contrary to what popular belief says today, all those answers to those questions make a fucking difference. And how you approach life, and more importantly, success. First, who will never make it? There's a couple of you in this room that need psychiatric help. You're on the, I'm not making a joke about it. Because you scored so poorly. Doesn't mean you can't be on the Hall of Fame, but you need help, and I'm not the guy to give it to you. We have people that take these tests 200 times a month or more, and Google only keeps track of 200. Plus 200 we don't know. 200 times. We have guys that take it 50 times a day, and they get the same answer over and over. 50 fucking times a day. A couple of you in this room. And you know who I'm talking about. We started with the success test. And the correlation to success was overwhelming vis-a-vis your score. The perfect score is -3. We have 2 or 3 of you in this room that got -3. But then you fucked up the other tests. We rarely ever get anybody that maxes or close to maxes all the tests. Once in a, as they say in Texas, once in a fucking while we do. Once in a while. Not too often though. The first time I took the success test, and I'd like to say that I came up with the success test, that'd be a lie. That'd be like a tip, a lie, because I didn't. I borrowed it from 2 psychiatrists from Boston, and 30 years ago, even before I started the seminars, and I've been using it ever since. And then the optimism test and pessimism test, I also borrowed from some other real bright psychiatrists, maybe 15, 20 years ago. And then the snowflake test, we came up with about 3 or 4 years ago. And the snowflake test has a 96.4% failure rate by the people who take it. And we have thousands and thousands and thousands of people take it. And then I came up with a super success test, maybe in the last year and a half. And we have about a 96 or 97% ratio of failure. How can you, and in one of the webinars we didn't see, Anelli's first or second webinar, not the one we saw yesterday, he said, I kept taking the success test and the test over and over and over. And I kept getting the same results. And then it dawned on me, I wasn't changing my answers and I wasn't changing my input. So you could take a test 1,000,000 times. If you don't change the input, it's going to come up with the same result, right? Okay. Garbage in, garbage out. And then he goes on to say, then I realized what had to change was me. And I could take the test from now until I was 1,000 years old. The tests were meant to, in the beginning, give you a basis so you know where you're coming from. But certain things, as we've discussed the first couple of days, it's deeply rooted in your DNA, can never change. You know, it's in Asia, even though Asians are brown skin kind of, it's very popular, a cult, but a pastime, to lighten your skin. Lighten your skin with everything from creams to infusions, injections, and all kinds of shit. And I lived in Asia almost 15 years, and I know some of the people, wealthy people, mostly gals, and they've been doing these treatments, and I've known a couple of them 10 years, and to the best of my knowledge, I've gone back and we've taken pictures of Christmas 10 years ago and then Christmas, and they look the same fucking color to me. I mean, we've had black people come here that put shit on their skin to make them less black. We've had black people come here, I'm looking at a couple of the blacks over there, that put shit on their skin to make more black. We've had people come here that were black. I used to show the pictures, but now a couple of lawsuits, and the guy said he wasn't black. And I go around and ask the black people in the audience, like the three you hear, and you go, well, it's, taking out the four-letter words, there you go, he's black. But there's certain things about your personality that are never going to change. Ever, ever, ever. And I thought, wrongfully, and you can never underestimate how wrong you can be, I thought wrongfully, if you knew where you were, you know how to grow from there. But instead, it had pretty much the opposite effect. Well, fuck, I'm fucked. I mean, what can I, my grandparents fucked me and I'm just fucked. These are variations of just profiles. They're profiling you, which you're not supposed to do anymore. You can't profile people when you hire them for work now. I do. Are you pregnant? Are you going to be pregnant? Are you going to have babies? Have you had your hysterectomy taken out? These are some of the questions I ask, which you can't. Are you this gay all the time? Because all that makes a difference. Contrary to what popular belief says today, all those answers to those questions make a fucking difference in how you approach life and, more importantly, success. Yet, for the most part, you can't ask those. When I went back to university, and I didn't have to go back, but I did to make my mother happy because I would be the only one on her side of the family to ever graduate from college, or go to college for that matter. And I went through, after flunking out three times, arguably four times, before I went in the military, and I came back and I went through a 4-year degree in 2.5 years with honors, blah, 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 blah. And I only went on 2 interviews. And I was the most highly qualified graduate of 1971 for the school you got to explain about. And the 2 Fortune 500 companies that I interviewed with, I had 6 interviews with one and 7 interviews with the other. The one I had 7 interviews with, I went all the way up to the vice chairman. And I got no job offers. And the head of personnel of the other Fortune 500 company called me. He was a military guy back from the Vietnam War. We were similar. He was about 10 or 15 years older than I was. And he said, Dan, let me buy you a drink. And we're sitting there having a drink, and he said, I believe we owe you an answer why you didn't get an offer. And I had already forgotten about it. I moved on. Okay, well, I made my bed, I made my roll, and I crapped out both times. So, what can I learn from that? I got to move on. And he said that you were easily the most qualified for the 1971 graduates that we interviewed. Nobody even compared to you. So now I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm going to get an offer now. And I said, well, thank you very much. But this is, having you come to work here, it was ascertained from the second or third interview that it would be like sticking a square peg in a round hole. It would never work. Not on the short term, intermediate term, or long term. The vice chairman that I had the 7th interview with, the other Fortune 500 company, said something similar. And he said, the reason why you got kicked up to me is because no one was willing to fail you in your interviewing process because they thought you were going to come back and buy the company and fire them. I'm 26 years old, 25 years old when this is happening. And I said, thank you very much. And I figured, well, I better go to Wall Street. That's where the action is. So, and I was right. Where people like, with my personalities, flourished on Wall Street and got rich, pissing people off. But the profiling tests they did on me back then, not these kind of tests, I knocked them all out of the park. I knocked them all out of the park. And this was before, like Google, they interview 8 times now, and Microsoft. And those days, 50 years ago, they interviewed you once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times. That's it. So I've been like this a long, long, long time. And the first time I took all these tests, I got a maximum grade. Maximum. I've never taken the test again. We don't spend time on the test other than this short segment that I'm ranting and raving about, because for you to make QLA work, there has to be a lot of personal work done on yourself, or you can't. It won't happen. And then you go to Reddit and you'll say, well, QLA doesn't work. And what you should write, you should go to Reddit. QLA didn't work for me because I'm a lazy cunt with no balls. Then, thank you. Write that. You heard Gerard say at least 3 or 4 or 5 times, stand up like a man with your head held high with some balls, right? That's very hood. That's very neighborhood. You know, whatever kind of neighborhood you come from, that's very, you know, very ghetto. Stand up like a man, like you had a pair. And we've had kids come through the seminar, some of you in this room, that have never been spanked by your parents, never reprimanded physically. We've had kids in this room that have never been yelled at by their parents. We have kids in this room that have never been in a fist fight on the school grounds. It's beyond my belief how you can go in grammar school and have never been in a fight. It's beyond my belief. I don't understand how that could happen. Except that all the kids are wusses now. It's not just you. They all lack moral fortitude, strength. You heard in one of the webinars when they asked the young kid, kid from Harrow, the one little skinny guy that was in the front row, how do you keep up your energy? And I looked at you. Nobody laughed. Except me. Because you were interested in the answer. How do you keep up your energy? Are you fucking shitting me? Is this a class or a course in comedic humor? How do you keep your fucking energy? What he was really asking is, how do I stay motivated? And if you're worried about that, again, you came to the wrong motherfucker. And that's the other reason that I did away with the mentor program. Other than we had no direct correlation whether I kept you, what I really did is I kept people in the game that should have been out of the game. Because I'm not going to be out there, as Gerard said. I'm not going to be out there to answer questions. I'm not going to be out there to hold your hand. And when we went back and looked at because the mentor program started in August of 2010. And we went back and looked at all that it produced and all the results, and we keep a lot of records. Basically, I kept at least 30% of the kids in the game longer than they should have been kept in the game. And I could have spent that 30% of the time on people that were in the game that I could have helped excel their success. But instead, it was wasted on the 30% that I kept in the game. The tests are crucially important. the results thereof. You know the results that you got. But you got to put them in perspective. If you're one of the ones there that needs mental help, you should get it. Not me. Because I don't really give a fuck if you die, fail. I'm only concentrated now, the last couple of years, on the people that are going to succeed, because I can make a difference from somebody who's succeeding in 50 million as opposed to making 500 million. I'm not that good at getting you to $1 million when you don't believe you deserve $1 million. I'm good at the quantum leaps, pun intended. But I'm not there to hold your hand as my mother held my hand when we walked off to school that first day when I was 4 or 5 years old. Because my dad invented tough love. And tough love works. And now I see what the world's like without it. And it's pretty miserable.